It was a quiet morning in a quiet neighborhood. The kind of morning where the sun rises soft and slow, and the birds begin their songs long before the first car pulls out of the driveway. In that stillness, a 71-year-old man was found in his bed, still, peaceful, gone. No struggle, no noise, no warning. And at first glance, it seemed like the kind of death we all hope for, asleep, without pain, without drama. But when his family looked closer, when his doctor asked a few questions, when the small, overlooked details of his evening routine were pieced together, a different story began to emerge. Because what seemed like a gentle passing was not entirely random. It wasn't just his time. It wasn't fate or mystery. It was the slow result of bedtime habits that had been quietly harming his heart, his brain, and his body for years. Habits no one warned him about. Habits that far too many seniors carry into their later decades, never realizing the damage being done while they sleep. That's what this video is about. The truth behind 4 dangerous bedtime habits that can increase your risk of sudden death after 70, especially during the most vulnerable hours of the night. This isn't fear-mongering. This is a wake-up call. Because your sleep is not just a time of rest, it's a time of risk. And if you're over 60, especially over 70, the decisions you make before your head hits the pillow can quite literally determine whether you wake up the next morning. But here's the part one need you to hear, and I want you to hear it in the first few seconds. This video might save your life, or someone else's. So before we go further, subscribe now. Not for entertainment, but because this channel exists to tell the hard truths no one else will. And if you know someone who is quietly ignoring their nighttime health, send this to them. The earlier you stop these habits, the more likely you are to live not just longer, but more safely. And like this video, if even one sentence makes you stop and think, because every single engagement helps this message reach other seniors who've been told that sleep will take care of itself, when that's no longer true after a certain age. Now, let's talk about the habits. Let me ask you something and be honest. Do you find yourself falling asleep in front of the TV, too tired to care about your position, your blood pressure, your last meal? Do you ever skip medication, thinking, I'll just take it in the morning? Do you lie in bed with your heart racing, but convince yourself it's nothing serious? These aren't small things. These are warnings. And if no one's ever told you what's at stake, you may not realize that the habits you formed decades ago might not be safe anymore. Not for your heart, not for your brain, not for your life. Because here's the truth. After 70, your body changes in ways that make certain nighttime routines far more dangerous than they used to be. And the worst part is, most of these habits feel harmless. They seem normal. They seem like just part of aging. But I've sat with families who woke up to silence, who found a parent or partner who never got out of bed, and who now wonder what they could have done differently, if only they had known. You deserve to know. So let's begin with the first habit, one that almost everyone over 60 does at least a few times a week, and one that puts dangerous strain on your heart while you sleep. Stay with me. The next few minutes may change the way you approach every night for the rest of your life. We've all done it. You eat a big meal. Maybe it's comfort food. Maybe it's something special. And within an hour, you feel the weight of the day pulling you toward bed. You tell yourself, it's fine. I'm tired. I'll sleep it off. You turn off the lights, lie down, and let your body sink into the mattress, full, satisfied, and unaware that what you just did may be putting dangerous pressure on your heart, your brain, and your digestive system. Here's the truth that most people over 70 don't know. Going to bed too soon after a heavy evening meal is one of the most underestimated risks for sudden nighttime events, including stroke, heart strain, and disrupted breathing. When you lie down with a full stomach, your body has to work overtime to digest while your system is trying to slow down for rest. And if you're over 70, that strain isn't just uncomfortable, it can be life-threatening. Digestion slows with age, blood pressure becomes more sensitive, reflux is more common, and the heart, already working harder during digestion, may not handle the extra pressure well. Let's talk about what happens physiologically. Increased nighttime blood pressure. Your body reroutes blood to aid digestion. But if you're lying flat, that redistribution can create circulatory stress. Elevated heart rate. The larger the meal, the more your heart must pump to circulate blood to your digestive tract. For someone over 70, this can create arrhythmias, especially in the early sleep stages when the nervous system is vulnerable. Acid reflux and aspiration risk. Lying down with a full stomach increases the chance that acid will rise into the esophagus, especially if you've eaten fatty or spicy foods. In worst-case scenarios, that acid can be inhaled during sleep, leading to aspiration pneumonia or nighttime choking. Interrupted sleep cycles. Deep sleep becomes harder to reach because your body is too busy processing food, meaning you miss the most restorative phases of rest. And all of this, every single risk, intensifies with age. Let me ask you something. How often do you eat late, feel full, and go straight to bed? Have you ever woken up with heartburn, a racing heart, or shortness of breath, only to brush it off as nothing? Those aren't just aging quirks. Those are warning signs. Your body is trying to tell you that something needs to change. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy dinner, but timing and portion matter more than ever after 70. Here's what you can do. Eat your last full meal at least 2.5 to 3 hours before bedtime. Give your body time to digest upright. Keep evening meals lighter. Soups, stews, steamed vegetables, and lean proteins are easier to process. Avoid heavy fats, fried foods, and excessive sugar. These take longer to break down and spike inflammation. If you must snack before bed, choose something simple, a few nuts, a small banana, or warm milk, nothing that forces your system into overdrive. And most importantly, listen to how your body feels 30 minutes after eating. Are you sluggish? Bloated? Do you feel pressure in your chest? That's your body asking you to pause before lying down. If this sounds familiar, if you felt those nighttime discomforts and dismissed them as just aging, leave a comment below with the words, "I've done this more than once." Because the truth is, you're not alone. But awareness can change everything, especially when it comes to protecting your heart, your breath, and your sleep. And if this first habit made you pause, if it reminded you of something you brushed off last week, like the video now, because that small click might help someone else stop a routine that's slowly wearing them down. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because this is just the first. The next habit we'll uncover is even more dangerous, because it involves something nearly every older adult takes at night, without realizing what it's doing to their brain. Stay close. You'll want to hear this. There's a moment, often late at night, when the pill bottles come out. A routine, a ritual. You line them up on the bedside table, the blood pressure meds, the sleeping aid, maybe something for anxiety or pain or cholesterol. You've been doing it for years. You don't even think twice. But what if I told you that one of the pills you take, the one meant to help you sleep, might actually be increasing your risk of confusion, dizziness, falls, stroke, and even sudden death in your sleep? Here's the hard truth. Many common medications, especially those taken at bedtime, become significantly more dangerous after the age of 70, yet they're rarely reevaluated. And the worst part? You may have been prescribed these pills years ago, and no one ever told you it was time to stop, or at least, time to ask if you should stop. Let's talk about the most common culprits. 1. Sedative hypnotics and Z drugs, like zolpidem, Ambien, esopacolone, Lunesta, and temazepam. These are often prescribed to help with insomnia. But in older adults, these medications have been linked to memory problems, daytime confusion, impaired balance, slower heart rate, increased risk of nighttime falls, and even a higher incidence of sudden nocturnal death. Your brain, after 70, is more sensitive. Its ability to clear medications from the system slows down. What used to feel like a gentle nudge into sleep may now suppress vital brain activity, including the areas that regulate. 2. Anticholinergic drugs, commonly used for bladder control, allergies, or depression. This includes over-the-counter medications like diphenhydramine, Benadryl, or prescription drugs for urinary urgency. They may seem harmless, but in older adults, they've been shown to impair memory, increase confusion, dry out the mouth and throat, disrupting sleep, interfere with REM cycles, and contribute to cognitive decline over time. And here's where it becomes dangerous at night. Many of these medications suppress REM sleep, the deepest, most restorative part of your sleep cycle. When REM is repeatedly disrupted, your brain doesn't rest. And the longer that goes on, the more your brain fog, your balance, and your heart rhythms begin to suffer. 3. Unreviewed blood pressure medications taken at night. Yes, controlling blood pressure is critical, but certain antihypertensives can cause a sharp drop in nighttime blood pressure in older adults. When that happens, your brain may not get enough oxygen. Some seniors experience mini strokes in their sleep because no one ever reevaluated their dosage after 70. And in rare but very real cases, they simply don't wake up. Let me ask you something very personal. When was the last time your doctor or pharmacist reviewed every single one of your nighttime medications? When was the last time you asked, is this still safe for someone my age? If the answer is never or not for years, it's time. I'm not saying throw away your prescriptions, but I am saying this. You have the right to ask. You have the right to know. And you have the right to change what no longer serves your health. Because no one should die in their sleep because of a pill they were never warned about. Here's what you can do right now. Schedule a medication review with your doctor or pharmacist, especially if you're on more than 3 daily prescriptions. Ask specifically about anticholinergic risks, sedative hypnotic dangers, and nighttime blood pressure drops. Never start or stop a sleep aid without guidance. Natural sleep remedies are not always safe either. Even melatonin affects people differently over 70. Track how you feel in the morning. Grogginess, dizziness, memory lapses, or waking up gasping may all point to something you took the night before. And if you've ever wondered, is this pill actually helping or hurting? Leave a comment below that says, I need to recheck my meds. Because chances are, someone else reading is thinking the same thing, but hasn't said it yet. And if this hit close to home, if you're suddenly remembering the nights you felt foggy, confused, or off, like the video now, because awareness saves lives. And the older we get, the more dangerous routine becomes if we stop questioning it. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next habit is something so common, it feels innocent, even comforting. But it may be the very thing disrupting your heart rhythm and oxygen levels all night long. And you might be doing it in the recliner before bed, or worse, all night long. Stay with me. This one's personal. For many older adults, the bed becomes a challenge. Climbing in feels awkward. Lying flat brings discomfort. Getting up in the middle of the night feels risky. So eventually, a new routine begins, one that feels harmless, even helpful. You fall asleep in the recliner. Sometimes you mean to, sometimes you don't, and soon, it becomes a habit. At first, it feels like a small win. Less back pain, easier breathing, no pressure to turn over or adjust the covers. But here's the truth. Night after night in a recliner, or in a semi-upright, propped up position, may be doing far more harm than you realize. Especially after 70. Especially if you already have high blood pressure, circulation issues, or a history of heart or lung problems. Let's talk about what happens when you make this your primary way of sleeping. 1. Compromised circulation and increased risk of blood clots. When you sleep with your legs down or bent for hours, blood flow slows, especially in your calves and ankles. That sluggish movement increases your risk of deep vein thrombosis, DVT, a condition where blood clots form in the legs. If one of those clots travels to your lungs, it can trigger a pulmonary embolism, a silent, sudden killer in older adults. 2. Shallow breathing and reduced oxygen intake. Sitting upright while sleeping often leads to shallow breathing. Your lungs don't expand fully. Your diaphragm is restricted. And for people over 70, especially those with sleep apnea, COPD, or heart failure, this reduced oxygen can lead to serious nighttime hypoxia. In plain terms, Your brain and heart aren't getting what they need to survive the night. 3. Increased nighttime arrhythmias. The combination of poor sleep position, reduced oxygen, and circulatory stress can lead to irregular heart rhythms. You may not even notice them while they're happening. You might just wake up feeling lightheaded, or worse, not wake up at all. 4. Disrupted sleep cycles. Sleeping upright or semi-reclined interferes with your body's ability to enter deep sleep and REM cycles. You may wake up feeling groggy, confused, or emotionally off, and not know why. The recliner might feel comfortable, but it robs you of the healing your body desperately needs overnight. Now, let me be very clear. One night in a recliner doesn't kill you. Even a few nights a week may be manageable with proper circulation and movement. But if this has become your primary sleep method, if you haven't slept in a proper bed in weeks or months, you are slowly increasing your risk for complications that could take your life without warning. Let me ask you something quietly, but seriously. When was the last time you slept an entire night in a real bed, on your back or side, with your body fully supported and your legs elevated naturally? Have you been waking up with swelling in your legs, strange dreams, racing heartbeats, or just a sense that something isn't right? You may be noticing what your body has been trying to whisper all along. I can't rest like this anymore. So what can you do? Gradually retrain your sleep posture. Start with 2 to 3 hours in bed before transitioning to the recliner, and increase slowly over time. Elevate your upper body safely. If you struggle with reflux or breathing, use an adjustable bed or a wedge pillow, not a chair that cuts off circulation. Stretch your legs before sleep and when you wake up. Gentle movement reduces clot risk. Speak to your doctor about sleep position, oxygen use, and circulatory support. These aren't vanity concerns, they're survival questions. And if this feels uncomfortably familiar, if you've come to depend on that recliner more than you'd like to admit, leave a comment with the words, "I've been sleeping upright." You won't be alone, but your honesty might be the wake-up call someone else needs. And if this habit described your current routine, and you had no idea how dangerous it could be, like the video now. Because sometimes, we don't need a doctor to tell us the truth. We need someone who's lived it, who's seen what can happen when good intentions become silent risks. And subscribe, because what we're about to talk about next is the most deceptive habit of all. It has nothing to do with posture, nothing to do with pills, and yet, it's the one bedtime pattern that steals more peace and invites more nighttime danger than almost anything else. And chances are, you've been doing it without even realizing. Stay with me. The last habit is the one that hides behind a smile, but weakens your heart every night. It's not what you ate. It's not what you drank. It's not even the position of your body. It's what's sitting silently in your chest as the lights go out. What you don't talk about. What you try to ignore. What you hope will disappear if you just sleep long enough. But it doesn't. It lingers. It tightens the chest. It shortens the breath. It keeps the mind spinning when the body is begging for rest. And if you're over 70, here's what no one says out loud. Going to bed night after night with unresolved emotional weight, especially chronic stress, grief, or anxiety, can quietly destroy your health. Not over months, not over years, over nights. Because sleep is not just a rest for the body. It's a place where your nervous system recalibrates, where your heart rate slows, where your breathing deepens, where your mind repairs itself from the wear and tear of the day. But when you carry unresolved pain into sleep, your body doesn't rest. It braces. It enters shallow cycles. Your cortisol, the stress hormone, stays elevated. Your blood pressure remains high. Your muscles stay tense. Your dreams may turn restless. And your heart, already aging, works harder than it was designed to. And sometimes, it can't keep up. That's how strokes happen in the early morning hours. That's how arrhythmias become fatal while you sleep. That's how you wake up panicked, or don't wake up at all. The truth is, grief, fear, regret, guilt, loneliness, they're not just emotional. They're physical. They live in the body. And if they're never released, they settle into the systems that are most fragile after 70. Your heart, your brain, your immune system, your breath. You may think it's too late to deal with that now, but it's not. What you bury emotionally will surface physically, and sleep is where it rises. Let me ask you something, and answer it quietly to yourself. Do you go to bed most nights with a heavy heart? Do you feel the tension before you lie down? The sadness? The unresolved words? The memories that ache? You're not alone, but you don't have to carry this alone either. Here's what you can do, not to fix everything, but to soften the edges of what hurts before you sleep. Write something down. One sentence, one name, one thing you wish you had said. Speak out loud to someone who's no longer here, even if no one else hears you. Breathe intentionally for 2 to 3 minutes before bed. In through your nose, out through your mouth, slowly. Pray, or meditate, or simply say, I release what I can't carry into tomorrow. Forgive, even just a little. Yourself, someone else, the world. Let the breath do what words cannot. Because you deserve to sleep with peace. Not perfection, just peace. And if you're still not sure this matters, let me remind you of something. People don't just die from what they eat. They die from what they carry. Silently. Alone. At night. And if this part of the video is hitting something deeper than you expected, if you feel tears or tension or truth rising, like the video now, because this is the sign you didn't know you needed to finally stop pretending you're fine. You're not weak. You're human, and you still have time to soften the burden. And if you've ever gone to sleep with a weight on your chest and wondered if it's always going to be this way, leave a comment with the words, I'm ready to sleep lighter. Someone else might need to hear that from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Because what we're building here isn't just information, it's a space for healing. And in the final part of this video, we're going to bring it all together. What you do tonight could change whether you wake up tomorrow, not from fear, but from the freedom that comes with awareness. Let's finish strong. The conclusion is next. So now you know. For bedtime habits. For quiet routines that may seem harmless, familiar, even comforting. But for people over 70, they can quietly erode your health. And in some cases, steal your life while you sleep. Let's remember them. You go to bed too soon after eating, and your heart races through digestion instead of resting. You take medications that were never meant to follow you into this age, and your brain and body no longer process them the way they used to. You fall asleep sitting up, in that recliner or propped in bed, night after night, until your circulation slows and your oxygen fades. And you lie down with a heart too heavy for sleep to hold, grief, fear, regret, or loneliness pressing against your chest long after the lights go out. And here's the truth we've been circling this whole time. The danger isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes quietly. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it sounds like routine. And sometimes it feels like nothing at all. Until it doesn't. But this isn't a video about fear. It's a video about awareness. About agency. About reclaiming the power to make the last chapters of your life safer and more peaceful. Because here's what too many people forget to say. You are still allowed to change. You are still allowed to ask new questions. You are still allowed to challenge the habits you thought would carry you forever. Let me ask you now, from one soul to another. Which of these habits has been silently living in your nightly routine? Which one feels hardest to break? And which one are you finally ready to face? Not out of guilt, but out of love for the life you still have. If you're ready to start tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, leave a comment below that says, I'm changing the way I sleep. Because change starts with intention, and someone reading those words might finally believe they can do the same. If you've lost someone in their sleep, and now you wonder what signs were missed, leave their name below, just a name. Let them be remembered in this space of truth. And if this video helped you see your routine more clearly, helped you feel less alone in your quiet concerns, or gave you a sense of hope that yes, you can still make tomorrow safer, like the video now. Because what you do tonight may determine what kind of tomorrow you wake up to, or whether you wake up at all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Not because we need numbers, but because you need a place that speaks to you honestly. Not like a child, not like a burden, but like someone whose life still matters. This channel is that place. We are that space. And every week, we come back, not just with advice, but with care. So let me leave you with this. Tonight, when you prepare for bed, don't just think about your pillow, your glass of water, your lights. Think about your heart. Think about your breath. Think about what you're holding in your spirit, and whether it's time to lay that down, too. You don't need perfect sleep. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to stop ignoring what your body and your soul have been trying to tell you. You still have time. You still have a choice. And yes, you still have a life worth protecting. Sleep well tonight, not with fear, but with intention, because you're not done yet. And we'll be right here when you wake up.